Well, welcome back, everyone. It's time for my favourite time of the week, where I get to hang out with my favourite dad, Sips, and my favourite other second.
You don't need to save it. I understand.
It's P-Flax. Sips is full of... Did you sniff a flower this morning, Sips?
Oh, man, did I ever. I sniffed a couple. Like, the whole planet is in bloom today, or at least, well, where I live, because, well, the sun is out. There's no, like, hurricane winds. It's not raining and stuff. It's been really nice.
It's beautiful. I took the dog for a walk around the park, and there's all little tiny flowers everywhere.
Yeah.
And these things are all lurking in the ground, hiding in the grass and all the rest of it. And now the park is all just, there's tiny little blue flowers and pink flowers, these things that look like a tiny little bouquet just springing up all over the place, and there's insects in the air and birds and baby birds, and everybody's happy, and it's wonderful. I love spring.
Yeah, I think I saw a wagtail this morning. I think that's what it is. It's like this little bird,
black and white, and when it lands, it goes boop 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 and wags its little tail.
I was sweet. Like, I didn't even know those things were around anymore. You know, we're full of the joys of nature. The earth is healing.
Nice.
It's nice to have a bit of sunshine on the pavement and just see. I don't know. It's good, isn't it?
It feels good.
It does feel great.
I saw our local kingfisher the other day.
Oh yeah.
Zipping up and down the river, and I saw there's a crane that lives around here as well.
They're all over the place in Bristol.
Yeah, they're
see
big,
them on the
big
skyline.
fucking birds. But they're there's a few that lurk. Oh, I see. Yeah. Very clever. He's in that kind of mood today, folks.
It's one of those. Get the personal trainer in, and let's see what happens.
Oh yeah, you've had another training session as well, have you, P-Flax?
I've got my 6th tomorrow.
Wow.
So yeah, it's good. It's very hard. It's been extremely hard work, but it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, you feeling good, like positive endorphins and
very
stuff
much
like
so.
coming through you. They always say like exercise and they say like just ticking things off, doing things.
Chocolate's really good.
Chocolate,
for that. Yeah,
that's true.
Makes you pretty happy.
Sex is a good
sex.
one. As
Yeah,
well.
sex is an excellent one for that. But yeah, it's
most
I
drugs.
don't combine those three. I try to combine those three things at the training session, but instead I'm just doing exercise. I'm not having sex or eating chocolate, which would be presumably the best workout. Really, because sex is meant to be very good in terms of exercise and endorphins. Chocolate is just
there's
delicious.
definitely a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram, isn't there? You know, I think sex counts as exercise, and probably also
so does eating chocolate. I mean, you got to lift it, and you got to go back to the box for more and lift it again. So it's like very repetitive exercise, but it's good for you. You know, like it gets the juices going. It gets you your ticker ticking and your juices flowing. Which
and
is
your talking.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it's all good. It's all good. I'm just feeling some good energy. It's been tough, I think.
It's been a weird year, and it's been a weird May as well, weather-wise, and it just feels good to finally sort of feel like things are going somewhat back to normal a little bit.
April was awful. It was the coldest for 100 years or something, and then May was like the wettest ever, it felt like. It was just raining every day, all the time.
Yeah.
And now, just at the end of May, I'm hoping... And I remember thinking when we were in the middle of lockdown, I thought, fuck me, summer 2021 better be an absolute belter. Like, I want a banging 3 or 4 month summer, just beautiful days, occasional rain. That would be nice. But we ain't going to get it. We're going to get 1 week of good weather, and then it'll be shit.
Yeah, well, it's this week, because this weekend's meant to be really good and stuff,
this
too.
Is it.
So
enjoy it,
boom.
folks.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, well,
it'll get right back to being miserable very soon, I'm sure.
British summertime. You got to make the most of it. Well, we don't get much of it. That's I just feel like I'm the same. Like I've said this before, but I feel like for a long time I've just been waiting in an airport. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? That boring, like just passing time. Like like don't want to get your book out because it's like
you don't want to commit to anything because something better might come along. Yeah.
I think that's just how my general psyche has been in that waiting in an airport phase. Even though, like, it's not like I would go away that often or would even do that much often. It's just knowing that I can't. I don't know. It's just like, I just feel...
You like to have the option. it's nice to have the option.
I like to have the option and then choose to stay at home and play video games.
Yeah.
I just like to know that I've chosen that option rather than it be foisted upon me.
Exactly, that's it. I know what you mean. I don't have a problem wasting my time, but as long as I'm up for wasting my time, you know what I mean? Like if somebody else wastes my time,
fully my choice.
Yeah, if somebody else wastes my time, look out. But if I'm wasting my own time, that's fine. I'm good with that.
What are you gonna do to him?
Oh, be so passive aggressive. Like, man, it's gonna be brutal.
You better look out, buddy, or I'm gonna not return your Christmas cards this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna ghost you on social media. How about that? Ha ha ha.
Got him.
So I tell you what cheered me up this week. I watched the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, what a banger!
Nice. I actually went out of my way not to watch it because
really
I find it infuriating. Yeah,
it's so funny.
It's so funny. You changed the channel.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was a good year. It wasn't as nuts as some years, but it did have some absolutely corking Eurovision stuff in. From the German entry, which was arguably the worst song I think I've ever heard at a Eurovision.
And what did it win?
They got Ninja. They got Ninja to sing it, didn't they?
It was bizarre. It was bizarre. They had a giant,
weird.
a woman dressed as a giant hand for some reason. And I mean, I not speaking German, I didn't know what the point of the hand was. Maybe they referenced it in the song, but I didn't think so. Graham Norton was on good form. The Italians were mid-table, and then they went to the public vote, and they'd suddenly won. And cut to the lead singer doing coke off the table in the middle of the arena, and then getting busted for it later. We didn't just get nil point from all the judges and juries. We also didn't get a single point from the public vote. Right. So we got absolutely nothing.
Oh, it was so good. I enjoyed that because I hope that we get nil point, right? I go into the competition, and if we get nil point, that for me is a victory, right? And we didn't just get nil point from the juries; we got nil point from the public.
Nil
and that
point
was just like
all round. It was
and just having the judges read it out as well, the hosts in the Netherlands read it out, and not really sure how to react because they know that England is a big audience for Eurovision, right? We're a big sponsor. We kind of don't have to qualify. We just get put through because we give them money. You know, it's like most people sing in English. You know, it's still, but getting the it was so juicy. I just loved it. So no, it was a night of madness. You know, you can tell there's going to be some folky old. So Eastern Bloc countries are going to do some classic folk songs in a dance style, right?
Yeah,
right. It's almost like you can get a bingo card together.
You can.
Like,
I mean, the Ukrainian entry was legit like a Ukrainian folk song, and it was an absolute banger. If you haven't heard it, go and look it up. It's called Shum, I think. By a band called Go_A. And the lyrics are nuts. But I looked up the translation of the lyrics. Let me read this to you. Lyrics.
It is like... It's like a kind of like...
like that. And it was mad. So the
and it's like,
very
my
aggressive.
child was killed by a werewolf in the forest.
Right.
He was killed, and then my second one went looking. He was also killed. And my third one went killed. Fourth one killed. Fifth one killed. All of my children killed by werewolf.
That's what you think it's going to be. That's what you think it's going to be. Here's what it actually is. Oh, spring song, where have you spent your winter? In the garden, sitting on a maple tree? You've been spinning a shirt. There, on the edge of a forest, an owl is blowing into the water. I'll sing a song. Let her hear it. Shum, get twined with periwinkle. I'm singing the Vesnyanka to you. Sowing hemp plants. Sowing green ones. So it's like this quite sweet spring song. Yeah. But she looks like a vampire queen surrounded by gremlins.
And it's quite morbid as well, sort of generally sounding. It's quite sort of one of those very sort of semi-depressing sort of ideas. And you always hear it in Eurovision because they think that it'll conjure up some sort of patriotic feel. But Europe doesn't care. Europe wants like something weird-ish with like kind of, but inspirational. And so there's always a couple of metal tracks that slip in.
Oh yeah, mainly from the Scandies.
Yeah, and they're like dressed as orcs and stuff, right?
Normally,
that was so that's Lordi. They actually did like a little cameo thing where they came and played a little clip. They also had like a 91-year-old woman singing her Eurovision song. Did you see that?
Yes,
in the middle?
they did like the full. Let's go back and revisit some classics.
They really just got a load of classic Eurovision entries and let them do like 45 seconds each, which was quite fun.
So what's the best that the UK has ever floated
we've won
to?
it. We won it several times.
Was it Bucks Fizz though? Did they win?
I don't think they won it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, did they?
English winners of Eurovision. So we have 5 winners.
Wow.
Oh god, it's quite a while ago.
Yes, these are a while ago.
Over 25 years.
Puppet on a String by Sandy Shaw. Puppet on a String. That one. Boom Bang Bang.
This is the bit where your dad sings all the songs from fucking
Boom Bang
Child.
Bang by Lulu. Brotherhood of Man's Save Your Kisses for Me. Save all your kisses for me. That one, I guess. Bucks Fizz.
Don't remember
Making
that.
Your Mind Up. That was Bucks Fizz. And Katrina
That was a good one.
Katrina and the Waves with Love Shine a Light. So we have won it 5 times. Last time was 1997. Now, I've been reading a lot.
Yeah, kind of a long time ago.
I mean,
still.
the French hadn't won since like 77. And this is the thing.
But again, the French, we've spoken about this before, the French music and the French music industry and French culture generally is so France specific.
It's very
It's
French.
insanely does not go.
They can't fucking help themselves.
It can't. It never extends past France. Like there's just no translation whatsoever. Like, and I'm not even talking about language specific. I just mean everything about it with the fucking accordions and whatever. Like Jesus Christ.
It's heavy
They
on the
did
French.
very,
It's true.
they were very close actually
They were.
this year.
So it was Switzerland,
Yeah.
France. They were like neck and neck through the jury votes. When it went to the public vote, like the bookies' favourites were France and Italy. So France, they had a good song. It was a good performance. She was very like eye-catching. Like she looked like that classic French singer. She
looked like Edith Piaf. Yeah, she had a bra. Like she was basically just wearing a bra, and really belting out.
She was beautiful, but she
this
had this
thing,
look about it, like with the short haircut, with that slightly curly kind of French look, kind of slightly wild but manicured. She had these
looked
amazing
like,
eyes.
Morena. What's her name? Morena Baccarin or
Lorraine
whatever.
Kelly.
A little bit like that.
Lorraine
kind
Kelly,
of,
she had that Lorraine Kelly thing going on.
like Lorraine Kelly.
Very French, classic.
Yeah, very French,
Oh, hello, it's Lorraine Kelly here for France. I'm going to sing a wee song for you. So, but it was great. But a couple of people I know on Twitter and a couple of articles I read, the argument that we always make is, oh, we're never going to win because they hate us. France hasn't won for like 50 years or something like that. Like I was saying,
And no one hates France.
Right, but they don't. I mean, there are lots of countries out there that win it that you think they're not going to win it, and they do. So I don't think it's that. Our songs are just shit. We just are not putting good songs in. And there's apparently I don't know how.
What about
like in
that
Sweden,
one? What about that one? We're flying a flag all over the world, and they were all dressed up as airplane hostesses and stuff like that. Remember?
God, that
Would you
sounds
like
awful.
something to suck on before you land and all that? Do you remember that year? That was a fucking real good one.
God,
I
was that-
don't
was that-
remember that.
What was that? Was that? Yeah, I remember that one. God,
Yeah,
it was so
it was
bad.
so fucking bad.
See, that is pandering, right? Though, because sometimes people write a song where they think it'll pander to the
That's what I mean. I think
do you know what I mean?
England's or the UK, sorry, is stuck in this trench where they're trying to game it because they think they have this big music industry. They have like all this influence over music. Like
everyone's trying to game it though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because what you get is you get things that are pop. Like when something wins, the next year people do a similar thing, right?
Yeah.
Because they think, oh well, that's one. We can do well if we. We can potentially win again if we
break it
submit the same
down to
thing.
the basic elements that made that win and try it, but it never works.
Well, it has
right?
been like for quite a few years, solo artists, right, singing quite strong ballads, right, and so this is quite unusual because it's the first group for a while. But it does go in cycles. It was like 10 years ago or whatever that they had the metal and now it's metal again, and so maybe we'll see a couple more metal ones next
honestly,
time.
I think if you just have good performance and a good song, you're in with a shout. The problem is, like you said, we're thinking, what will the Europeans like? And that's almost impossible to gauge because it's like 1 billion people in Europe or something like that, and you've got all these different countries, and they're not. It's not like the people out there only listen to Oompa music if they're from Germany, and only listen to picking guitar if they're from Spain.
Sometimes it does feel like it's 1 billion potato farmers voting for. You know what I mean? Like it's always some weird folk song, like you said, from all these countries,
no, it's not.
And they do
that's what
well.
they submit, but like they don't do well.
They do all right, but they're not like owning it, and it's not always the biggest country that wins. Like, I honestly think it's a lot fairer than we make out, and I think quite often a pretty decent song wins. I mean, it's obviously tends to be a little more sort of more populist kind of songs, if you like, that are a bit more sort of like obvious. Sometimes there'll be a good song that doesn't win, and you think, well, at least, it was a good song. They gave a good account for themselves. They got a decent score. That's enough. Like, we're just thinking we need to just pick something that those stupid Europeans will like and just writing this shit. I think most often than if you're a decent singer-songwriter and you come up with a good tune, why the fuck would you waste it on Eurovision? I guess is the way they see it. I don't know how much money you get for winning Eurovision or any. I don't know if the record sales are big.
Is good though. Like in terms of exposure, it's probably pretty big.
But is it credible exposure?
No, but it's like being in a cult thing at that point, right? Like even 50 years from now, they're going to be 90 and people are going to be hiring him for the 2071 fucking, Eurovision.
But do you want to be known as a band that won Eurovision? That's the question.
But it's like a pension. It's like security for the rest of your life. Do you know what I mean? And it's quite wholesome. I like Eurovision. I think it's good fun.
I'm sure there's other examples, but for me, every time I think of Eurovision and I think of a band that did well off the back of Eurovision, it's obviously ABBA, right? Like they went on to become this like
phenomenon.
Sort of, huge classic group with numerous like number one singles, whatever. And Eurovision was really the start for them, wasn't it? Like
I think you might be right. I think that if you're already established and you do terrible in Eurovision, that could be a blow
like
to
when
your
Madonna turned up at Eurovision, and that was a disaster.
Well, and then like I was saying before, Andrew Lloyd Webber made a song for Eurovision, which didn't do very well. No, and there's been a couple of other ones. Didn't Simon Cowell at some point try to throw his lot in as well, or he backed somebody and they were sure that they were going to do really well and they did terribly?
I'm sure that Morrissey was going to write a song for Britain for Eurovision, but changed his mind because
this year Bill Bailey said he's going to give it a go.
I would love that, honestly. Just fucking have a go. Like
sure,
we should send someone that's actually representative of Britain. Bill Bailey is representative of Britain. Get him out.
But I just again, like I don't know if it's if it's the same as the sort of French thing. Like Bill Bailey, I'm not sure what his translation would be to the rest of Europe, sort of thing. Like he's of course everybody in the UK knows him. He's very funny. He's very good. But like you know what I mean? Like is a German audience going to find him funny or even understand?
Well, they wouldn't find anything funny, as we know.
You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. I think there's like some translation issues there for sure. Like it
doesn't matter. I don't think
it doesn't.
Matters.
No, ultimately it doesn't. But like I don't know. I just feel a bit bad for Bill Bailey to like do that and it potentially just completely bomb. You know what I mean?
Matter.
We've had
Bailey
some of this before.
Like here's the thing: if he's not beloved in Europe. If he's not beloved in Europe, as you're saying, what the fuck does he care if he bombs at Eurovision? Everyone that loves Bill Bailey is going to think it's the best thing ever. I love Bill Bailey. Yeah. I would love to see him at the Eurovision Song Contest.
It would be funny for sure, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm putting myself in the shoes and just thinking like, if it wasn't a sure thing, like you're talented, you could probably write a pretty good song, but sometimes, especially Eurovision, it feels like there's external factors that are kind of stacked against you already anyway. Even if your song was perfect and amazing and you'd still get no votes or whatever, you have to just think like, is it fucking worth it? Like you were saying, like is it actually even fucking worth it? Like he could just go and do like a stand up that would be even funnier and probably more well received than like just flopping on Eurovision.
I don't think he would. I don't think it would affect his fan base. I think his fans would love to see Bill Bailey there.
Yeah.
He's a comedian, so I think it would be funny. Him failing horribly would be hilarious in itself.
Yeah.
And he knows that. I think it's a win-win for him.
This is the thing. Do you remember? So there was a comic, Ireland comic called Dustin the Turkey. He was like a puppet. Do you remember?
But they said that because they wanted to lose. Like they legit wanted to lose.
They sent a song called Ireland Doos most points.
They wanted to lose because they had done it. I think they'd won back to back. And Father Ted did an episode about this where they were like, we have to lose. Send in the shittest song we can find.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we win again, this is going to cost us too much money. He's going to pay to put this fucking thing on.
Well, this is the plot of the Eurovision movie as well, in Iceland, because like part of the plot is that if they win and have to host in Iceland, it'll bankrupt the country. Right. That's the idea.
I mean, that's why they entered Dustin the Turkey, who is like, I guess he's kind of like Zig and Zag and Roland the Rat. It's like, if you live in Ireland, you'll know him. You know, he's probably had a novelty record, pops up on telly, you know, and now we're joined by our correspondent, Dustin the Turkey. And in comes Dustin the fucking Turkey. And everyone's like, you know, yeah, all right, it's Dustin the Turkey. He's like, people make a career out of being these sort of goofy characters. I mean, think of Rod Hull and Emu. You don't see it as much nowadays, to be fair. But in the 70s and 80s, you could just have a puppet and a stupid name, and that was it. You'd get booked for TV.
Oh my God, you're right. They've won it 3 times in a row in Ireland. They won it in 1993, 94, and 90.
They were like, this has to stop.
Oh so my God.
And then again in 96. Yeah, oh my God. So they won it 4 times in like 6 years.
That lovely horse thing on Father Ted was classic. That was so funny.
Play the fucking note. That's my favorite bit when they're writing the song and pulling out. Man, what an episode.
Yes.
I like when he has the dream or the nightmare with the full song. It's just the kaleidoscope horse at the end. The sax solo.
But he wakes up and he says, we have to lose that sax solo. And they've been having the same dream somehow. Like, that's the weirdest thing, is that he talks to Dougal. He's like, Dougal, we got to lose that sax solo. And Dougal's like, yeah, Ted. It's like they were having the same dream. Like, that's such a weird thing to have happen in a show. I don't know why that always stuck with me.
It's a great show, and I didn't realize why. I didn't quite realize the history behind that. I didn't realize that Ireland had won it that many times, and that was sort of part of it. But it makes a lot of sense. I guess there's a lot of Eurovision has been. I don't know, it's been going a long time. It's got this kind of campy sort of, it's almost like a sort of gay icon as well. It's very very inclusive in terms of like gender and also like just everything. It's just super inclusive and like really just nice. Like and it doesn't really matter. Like no one really like didn't vote for Israel or whatever because of what's going on. It doesn't feel like that. But I don't know, the whole contest like was just full of little bits of joy, like you said, like seeing the guy potentially snorting cocaine. It turns out he wasn't actually doing drugs.
Oh, really?
It's like it's more news about him not doing drugs than him doing drugs.
Because I heard that he was busted for it. Is that not the case?
No, he had to do a drug test and they came back negative.
Yeah,
so
right.
Apparently they dropped a glass on the floor or something. But I just thought it was the most metal thing ever to have him just snorting cocaine live off his fucking. Man. I just loved that. Like I was just like fully believed it at the time. It just made the drama so much more.
Agreed.
They had like a couple of stage sort of last year. Remember they had people invaded the stage a couple times. So there's always this stuff happening. It's just it's
bonkers,
so cool. It's just so bad as well. Like
it's bonkers,
but man,
it's just hilarious.
There was a. Have you seen the Eurovision movie?
No, I started watching it and I couldn't finish it. I watched another film this week instead.
I recommend you get through it because it is actually worth. It's just worth. It's not a good movie.
This
but
is the one with Will Ferrell.
Yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
couldn't stand it. I don't mind Will Ferrell, but I honestly, it left me absolutely cold within like half an hour, and I was like, I can't watch this.
Yeah, I got the same
there's a lot
feeling.
of people felt like that about it, right?
But I got actually by the time I got to the end of it, I changed my mind on it, and
but you quite like that Superstore show, and that's not been particularly well received, I don't think.
Yeah, it's quite again like it's got good bits though. I think it's hit and miss, right? I think when you have these big things that are made by a huge group of people, you know, when you're making the Eurovision film, I can imagine the amount of checks that thing had to go through, you know, before it was fucking allowed to be put out.
That because of our year in lockdown and we've watched everything that there is to watch, that our acceptance of shit things has reached a peak, so that now our standards are low. We're like, if you can entertain me for an hour and a half, good on you. Like, that's great. Go for it. This bad movie is now elevated because we're so starved of content. We've watched everything.
Okay, good point. Good point, because I started watching. I watched the first season of Patriot this week.
Patriot,
which is which is like this kind of
an American show.
Well, it's like a comedy drama sort of thing about this sort of CIA agent kind of doing a mission, and how, oh man, it's like a proper black comedy, and it's just very, very, very good, very good. It's got Locke in it from Lost, Terry Quinn, and a few other people that I recognise. But man, I just really love it. I think it's great.
Mrs. F has been watching The Bureau, which is a French sort of spy. Le Bureau. And she said it is très bien.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. I'm excited. That's good. I'll watch that then.
But
after,
it being a French show, there's lots of fucking in it. Like they're always shagging each other and everything, and I think that's really funny.
I've been watching the comedy Motherland, which my wife likes.
Yes, I'm on episode 4.
It's pretty funny.
Don't you find that it's a little too close to home at times? Like,
oh my god, every fucking episode is. It's just like any interaction they have with the school is just like, oh my fucking god, like it's insane. It is. It's the world has just gone fucking mad. It feels like, but it's represented very, very humorously through Motherland for sure.
It's good. It is a really funny show. And,
I've also been enjoying the new series of This Time with Alan Partridge, which feels like it wouldn't be funny because Alan Partridge is such a sort of like old thing or whatever. But man, it's still so funny. Like I'd say that there's at least a moment in every episode where I'm actually like laughing quite a bit. Like it's just the lead up and writing and everything is really,
is it
really
a
good.
little too cringy at times? Because I watched the first series. This is the one where he's on the daytime show.
Yeah, he's doing it's like the one show.
Morgan,
it's basically making fun of the one show the entire time.
Fucking hell!
But it's
which is total garbage.
Exactly, but like it's represented very well in
you don't like the one
Alan
show?
Partridge's
It's so upbeat and jazzy. And then with the little tiny audience, yay! Welcome to the one show. This week we've got, and you could like, there's like 10 names you could chuck in that are guaranteed to be on the one show this week.
This weekend we've dug up the corpse of Keith Chegwin.
I'd say
he's coming to us naked from a mountaintop.
It's very funny. It's very Alan Partridge. You know, like it's got. Lynn is in it, and but it's basically him working, you know, on the show. So like you have the actual show itself, which is pretty ridiculous, and then you know when they're like, you know, they have like 60 minutes or 60 seconds in between segments or whatever, you know, like, and they get up and they go get a drink, and so you get all like those bits and stuff as well.
Right. Yeah.
But it's the usual. Like it is cringe at parts or whatever, but man, it's very funny. Like the Alan Partridge character is always like pretty well written.
He's
and
a great
sort
character.
Consistently very sort of you know, like his arsehole-ish self sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's good. It's good for sure. Like
you know, it's weird. He kind of reminds me of Michael Scott from The Office in that he's desperate to be good at something. He's a bit different from Michael Scott, but they both have the same drive to be loved and to be successful.
Yeah. But they don't know how to get there.
No.
Either.
They sort of stumble along.
Michael Scott's a bit more vulnerable, though. Like, Alan Partridge is like a fucking fortress of multi-layered defenses, right? Like, like, nothing gets to him because he's too much of a fucking asshole.
He's too much Clarkson to suffer.
Exactly, yeah. So, like, there's, like, differences for sure, but... I'm always amazed at how well written it is. You know what I mean? Like just everything. Like the dialogue is always very funny. It's very good, and just all of the different bits. Like, you know, like the recurring characters. Like there's this one character that no matter what, she will disagree with him, like just on principle, but she'll always agree with Jenny, like the co-host. So like Jenny will say something, she'll be like, "Yo, yes, exactly." But then if Alan says something, even if it's right, she's like, "Well, not quite." And like, but this fucking irks him like hardcore because he knows what she's doing.
Everybody knows someone like that. I'm definitely like that.
It's lots of little bits like that, but they're all really funny. They're not overdone. You know, like they come back when they need to, sort of thing, and it's just pretty good. Like, I'm not saying it's the most amazing thing, but
I'll give it a look.
Yeah, no, it's worth it for sure. Like Steve Coogan is genuinely pretty funny, so it's not a bad show.
So I watched the film this week, the worst film that I've seen in a long time.
Right.
For many, many reasons.
I watched a film as well that was pretty terrible, but we'll go through we'll see if they were the same.
My one was Army of the Dead by Zack Snyder.
Right.
It's the
You guys
same
both
movie.
watched the
Yeah.
same thing.
We both watched it,
So-
and we both thought it was terrible.
It was so bad on so many levels. And I've watched a few Zack Snyder films. I haven't seen Punch Drunk Love, I think, which is one that people talk to me a lot about.
That was pretty good.
Well,
I've only seen it once, and I saw it when it came out, but I remember liking it at the time.
Right.
I was a
it
kid,
looks
but-
awful. Like the trailer made me really not want to see it. But I remember watching 300 and thinking this is pretty, it's pretty stylishly shot. That I haven't really seen anything like it. And I was a big fan of it's based on a Frank Miller comic book, right? Like
Yeah.
And I was a big Frank Miller fan at the time, so I was like, this is pretty good and pretty close and all the rest of it, and sort of captured the essence of the comic in a lot of ways. But it wasn't perfect, but it was all right. And I thought,
Well, when you've got a comic book,
right, it's going to look
the
a
source
certain way.
material is kind of fairly like strict on the story as well, right? Whereas I feel like Zack Snyder's approach to story is. It's like the biggest fucking like. I just think that's how he wrote the story.
Oh, it's unbelievable. So for anyone who hasn't seen it,
page.
here are the key points, if you like. Is the army is transporting this king zombie who is in a box with just a hatch. This box looks like something out of World War II. I don't know why they haven't put him in something more secure. He's just on top of a van, on the top of a flatbed van, driving through the desert. There's an accident. The zombie escapes, and it runs to the nearest city, which is Las Vegas. This is the opening scene. Cut to a very long opening montage sequence of Vegas being overrun by zombies. There's like zombie Elvises, there's zombie cabaret dancers, and all the rest of it. Now, at this point, I'm thinking, maybe he's going to go for a kind of action comedy thing. It's zombies. It's Las Vegas. That has to be a comedy, right? No. The film is played dead straight, very serious. There is no characterization for anybody past the montage. So the opening montage basically tells you roughly who these characters are. Dave Bautista is a badass. There are other badasses as well. One of them has an angle grinder. That appears to be his entire character. There are some tough-looking ladies. They manage to get out. 10 minutes of exposition later, they're going back in. And they have to go in to basically break into a bank vault and steal a load of money, and they get to keep half of it. That's the setup.
Right.
No spoilers.
So, we won't
no
spoil
spoilers.
But it's because it's worth what I think. Honestly, it's worth watching. It's like a popcorn. I could always smell the popcorn when I was watching this movie because it feels like that kind of just cinema dumb. Like everything right from the opening scene, though, it's so dumb. Like the opening scene. Okay, go on, Sips. Just before I go to the opening scene,
no, it's
tell
just
me what you're thinking right now.
just reminded me that our cinema is open here now, so I can actually
sick.
go
there
and
you go.
Well, you
get
can
that
go and watch
sweet
this 'cause
popcorn
it
smell.
Don't
It
watch
is on
this.
limited
So actually
release.
going to take my kids to see the new Peter Rabbit movie, which
Do it.
is a little bit more appropriate for their age.
But I would advise nobody to watch this movie. Like at all.
I would advise everyone to watch this movie because it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
But it's actually offensively bad. I mean, there are moments in this film that I was head in hands at how bad it was. The tonal
But that's part
shift
of
to
it,
the film.
the joy.
No,
Like,
it's not.
oh
There's
my
no
God.
joy. There's no joy
There
to
is.
him playing
There's joy in
zombie
watching something terrible.
by the Cranberries at the end of the film. Zombie is a film
it's-
about the Troubles. Is a song about the Troubles in Ireland, right? Whatever you want about the Cranberries, you can say what you like. I'm not a huge fan.
It's like, which song should I put in at the end of the film? I type in zombie song into Google
And that's what
I
he
put
gave
that
him.
song in my movie.
That's literally it. That's the only link between that song and zombies is it's called Zombie. So he's like, well, that's got to go in. It's like, you're a fucking idiot. There's no more thought to it than that. Song called Zombie, me play song. Press play. And there's
that
multiple
dumb,
times where the music choice is so literal and so awful, and he's obsessed with this camera that he has.
Well, there's nothing worse though. That sounds pretty bad, but you have to still the prize for worst use of music or song has to go to every remix of Ready or Not by the Fugees, where it's got like the and then Ready or Not. It's like a lead up to like a doomsday or something like that. Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
Have you ever heard this?
Yes. They do that all the time.
Yeah,
like,
but it sounds like a
when it's
kid
about
singing
to,
it or something
when
in
it's
between.
about to kick off.
Fuck
yeah.
me. I like every time I see that, a part of me dies. Honestly, like it just.
Sometimes sound design is, you can tell, like the guys in the Foley back end have just sort of searched for a simple search term.
That is the
and
worst
the music
one for
doesn't
me.
fit at all.
Yeah.
I've actually
it's so
found something
bad,
on my
yeah.
desktop that I'd kind of forgotten about, and I'd written Zack Snyder's Lord of the Rings. After seeing Army of the Dead, I was obviously so angry, I went and wrote a summary of the key moments from Zack Snyder's Lord of the Rings, if you would like to hear
Is
it.
this a fictional thing that you just made up?
Yes. I made
so,
this up.
Right.
So if Zack Snyder directed Lord of the Rings,
Right.
he basically wouldn't have even picked up the book. He would have
This
just
is
gone
all covered in it, yeah.
and vomited out like
Right.
this garbage.
So there are a few
Okay.
things that you'll notice. These are the things that I think Zack Snyder is obsessed with. Anyway, here we go. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the Zack Snyder Cut, a 17-hour film summary of key moments. Because Army of the Dead is over 2.5 hours long.
Right.
Sips. Just
I
think
know.
about it.
Okay, I'm thinking about it.
Scene 1.
Yeah.
Enter Boromir, played by Henry Cavill. He is topless. He is lifting some heavy barrels of mead and sweating in slow-mo. Boromir. Hi, I'm Boromir. I'm a total badass. Don't even look at me. Sam, played by Ryan Reynolds. Extreme close-up. We're best friends, Boromir. Don't ever forget that. Scene 2. An orc shoots Boromir with an arrow and he dies a slow death, staring into the eyes of Dave Bautista, who plays Gandalf. Why? Why, man? I had so much to live for. You're a good man, Boromir. I'm sorry, brother. Gandalf pounds the earth with his fist and shouts, Why? Boromir dies. Gandalf takes one last look at his corpse, then rips off his shirt, unsheathes his 8-foot-long sword, and kills 30 orcs to the tune of I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross. Sam charges into battle alongside Gandalf to avenge his fallen friend. Sam is topless. Scene 3. The Prancing Pony. Enter the Fellowship, which is all together now, but we don't need to know how or why. Barkeep. Whoa, I heard you guys are badasses. I don't want to mess with you. Shut up, my best friend died, shouts Gandalf. Here's your usual drink, Gandalf. Thanks, says Gandalf, giving the barkeep a weak smile. You're the best. Lingering shot of the barkeep, lingering shot of Gandalf, a sunset, a montage of people coming and going in the bar as Gandalf drinks his beer slowly to the tune of You're My Best Friend by Queen. 5-hour scene of Gandalf and Sam in extreme close-up, talking in the wilderness somewhere in Middle-earth. They laughed, they cry, they lift heavy things. The entire back catalogue of the Rolling Stones plays at deafening volume during this scene. Scene 4.
Yep.
Sauron and Saruman are in a cave with Gollum. Gollum, it's me, Sauron. Urgh, I'm so evil. Here, you can have the ring. Then take it and let them get it. Then lure them here so I can get the ring. But first try to convince them to fight each other. Then Saruman, you get an army of march on them. But you'll probably lose. But don't worry, because Gollum is going to bring the ring back. And then we'll escape in a helicopter. We have 24 hours. Move, move, move. Sauron, this plan is unnecessary and elaborate. And Sauron kills Saruman and looks at Gollum. Anyone else want to complain? A sunset. Gollum skips across rocks to the Rocky theme because he's in a rocky place. Lingering shot of Sauron watching Gollum leave with the ring. Sauron cries. Scene 5. The Battle of Whatever. The battle goes on for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Every single kill on the battlefield is shown in excruciating detail. If someone is dying, we stay with them until they draw their last breath, even if that means a 10-minute close-up. The Oliphants arrive to the tune of Nelly the Elephant and proceed to kill 1,000 of the Rohirrim in a lengthy montage. 73 close-ups of people getting splattered under the elephant's legs in time with the line "Stomp, stomp, stomp" from the song. A zombie elephant turns up. The head orc with the fucked up head says, "Get them," and the orcs do. But then Dave Bautista arrives and kills everyone. Gimli is seen for the first time in the trilogy. He is not seen again until the final shot. Scene 6. This is the first time Frodo has spoken in the film. "Damn this ring," he says. But Sam grabs it off him and swallows it. Grabs Frodo, grabs Gollum, and they fall together in a 5-minute slow-mo shot to the tune of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. Everything explodes. Gandalf is okay, and we see him back at the bar drinking a pint and twirling the real ring. The end.
Wow,
Oh my god.
If he's
Oh my
listening right
God.
now, he's probably like, "How did this guy steal all my great ideas for this?"
That's it.
You
How has
nailed
he
it.
got his hands on my
That's
script?
the Snyder cut. Fucking worthless
it's-
piece of shit director. If you're a Zack Snyder fanboy, please stop listening to this podcast.
Is
I hate you.
okay? Is the Snyder cut? Is this the thing to do with the DC Comics
Justice League.
something
Yeah.
or whatever that everybody was talking about?
He
Is
did
that-
this remake of, was it Man of Steel or fucking Justice League?
Justice
League.
I
right?
know nothing about this other than people complaining about it and talking about it at
It's
one
like
point.
4
when it came
hours
out.
long or some dumb shit like
Right.
that. And
Well, he originally directed it and it was terrible because apparently it was out of his control and it would have been perfect if he'd been allowed to do it all. And so he
they
redid
were like,
it and it was
fuck
still
you,
terrible.
here you go, have a go. and he fucked it up, and it was awful.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he used
yeah.
this special lens on Army of the Dead. You'll notice it. The depth of field. You know depth of field on the camera.
He redid Army of the Dead because
No. This is his movie. He's called it Army of the Dead, even though there is an Army of the fucking Dead movie. Sam Raimi, right?
But he also did Dawn of the Dead back in
He did the remake of Dawn of the Dead,
in 2004.
But Army of the Dead is an Evil Dead. That's from the Evil Dead universe.
Okay, so
That's a
this
different
Army of the
universe.
Dead is a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know why it's called Army of the Dead, really.
It's a zombie heist movie, right? So
In Vegas.
They have to rob a bank from a. It's very convoluted, but in a very serious way.
Yes,
Right.
it takes
It's
itself
not, it's
deeply
not
seriously.
comedy. This is not a comedy film. All right, it's very serious the whole way through.
Oh,
There's the whole
man.
Hollywood stuff of people crying and dead wives and dead daughters and no, sacrifice me. I'll stand in the corridor
It's
like 10
unbelievable.
yards from you and sacrifice myself. It's like the tropiest shit. It's trash.
Man, I waste a lot of time watching shit, but I'm glad that I'm not really
Don't.
into like these kinds of movies because I would never like seek these out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
off the back of a very good recommendation from a trusted source, I might watch it, but like I would never be like, I'm gonna try this. Like I would never bother with like half of these movies.
I watched the Godzilla versus King Kong movie because I quite enjoy seeing this kind of shit because it makes me feel angry, and I kind of like
love
to
that.
feel angry about a bad movie.
It reminds me that I'm alive.
It's interesting.
I didn't hate the movie. Like it kept my attention. But I was continually out of the. I had to watch it from like a detached perspective. Do you see what I mean? Because of how ridiculous it was it's almost like a challenge to find the plot hole because there's so many plot holes.
It's so
You're like,
bad.
so this guy's doing this. So why didn't he just do this like 20 minutes ago?
unbelievable.
Like, do
It's
you know what I mean?
unbelievable.
No one behaves. They behave in such. Everyone is. I don't know. It's garbage. But in a really watchable
there is a
way.
moment that sums it up for me in that he's made this 2.5 hour long movie. There's a character in the film. I don't even remember her name. I don't remember why she's there with them. And she turns to him at one point, to Dave Bautista's character. This is pretty much her only scene in the film. And says, I'm not here for the money, I'm here for you. And he smiles, lift door opens, zombie comes out and breaks her neck. End of character. That's her arc. Her arc is 20 seconds long. It's the first real time we've seen her speak.
I love
and
you,
she's
Dave.
dead at the end of the sentence.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. And Dave Bautista's character is now... This is a big motivation for him, and he's angry and everything. And you think, I can't feel anything if I don't know the fucking people. I don't even know their names. It's so terrible. It's just...
I know.
This guy's being given hundreds of millions of dollars to make movies, and somehow they're generating profit. What's going on, people?
It's all demographics, man. Like that's the thing, you know. We're not the target demographic for a lot of this stuff. Is what I'm coming to realize. He's not making a movie to be enjoyed by a 40-year-old man. He's making a movie to be enjoyed by a 10-year-old kid who's going with his mom who doesn't know anything about movies. That's
But his
the point.
films don't feel like
Maybe.
they're made for kids. There is a scene in this film where a zombie pulls a dead zombie baby from the belly of the zombie queen.
Right.
That happens in the film.
Okay, so maybe like a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old.
It's an 18 movie.
Yeah.
And I thought this is actually going to be pretty cool and gory,
about right.
and it wasn't.
That's about right because you weren't 18 plus when Pulp Fiction came out and you saw it, right? You were probably like
I was 18
oh, right,
plus.
okay.
I'm older than you think, but yes.
That was a great example, though.
yeah,
of
that's
like
a movie
bit of that movie.
you saw that movie ahead of when you should have seen it, right? Because it came
Pulp
out,
Fiction?
everybody was talking. Yeah, it was huge.
No,
when
I
it
was
came.
old. I was old enough to
I know
see that.
you were, but I'm saying like probably
I see.
Lewis.
Yeah,
Lewis probably
yeah.
saw it before he was 18. I saw it before I was 8. You know what I mean? Like just because it's an
You're
18. The same with like
It was shocking.
Yeah,
It was shocking.
I
At the
will say
time, for
this
sure,
though,
yeah,
you
it
don't
was.
get many 18s made these days. Like you really don't. And I think it's that one scene that made it an 18. Because I've seen a lot more violent films with like all kinds of gore and everything, and they're not 18s.
Yeah,
so
well, I
it
think
was kind of
it's-
weird that it was.
I think violence and gore specifically isn't always enough to propel it over the 18
Agreed.
rating. It's subject matter, right? Like if you're dealing with like sensitive issues like
Right.
abuse and stuff like that, then it might be like considered
Yeah.
over 18. But just violence, like action sequences and stuff like that, isn't enough on its own to make
It's
it
weird
over
because
18.
it used to be in the 80s they would cut the theatrical release in this country would often have scenes cut from it because it was too gory. I think Commando, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, there's a scene where he decapitates a bloke or chops the top of his head off with a saw blade that he throws at him, which is amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they cut that. Anything to do with throwing stars was cut in the 80s.
It's not consistent anywhere. Like more so in America, I think, because you have you'll have on TV generally a lot of violence. They'll have no problem showing police chasing a guy down in a car, shooting him with a gun and stuff like that. But then they have to blur nipples and censor swearing. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, I mean, you might as well just go full hog at this point. Like if the guns are out and stuff, you might as well just be showing a couple of nips and not bleeping the swearing or whatever. It doesn't make much sense.
It is tough to pitch that tone, right? Because even a 6-year-old is being shown Avengers movies, right? And they've got violence in, and so by the time they're 10, they're playing COD Warzone, and I was uncomfortable playing. Did I tell you I was uncomfortable playing that? Because the way it works is you shoot people, they go down,
and then they get back up again, and then you shoot them again, and then they go down, and then they're back up again. And I know, I played Warzone. It's frustrating as hell.
You have to shoot them a lot when they're crying on the floor, surrender,
dying. Right. No, but
some guy dies. You have to shoot him.
Nobody
4
ever
or 5
dies in that
times
game,
more.
though, Lewis. That's the thing. That's the point. There's a million get out of jail cards in that game.
I know there are. But the point is that when I was playing it, it felt like I was constantly executing a prisoner. Wow. It was like someone has. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It made me feel like I was making these choices. It was forcing me, in fact, to make these choices. It was forcing me to see someone shoot someone, they're injured, and then shoot them 5 more times. Now, if I was watching a movie and the hero shot a guy and then he was dying on the floor, saying, don't kill me, and you shot him again 5 more times, okay, with a machine gun to make sure he was dead, that would be an 18 age rating.
Yeah.
But for COD
that's my problem with
that is
John
the gameplay.
Wick.
I'm doing that. It's not like that once per movie that happens. I'm doing that 10 times in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Or more.
You're not getting 10 kills in Warzone. Come on.
I'm not sure that COD necessarily should be an 18, but at the same time, I wouldn't let my son play it for while he was young, for sure.
I don't know what it should be, but
you're right. There is an interesting moral quandary that the hero in this game, now basically kills downed enemies is pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah, when you think about it.
It is horrible. I found I guess people just blank it out and it just becomes part of the game.
Just crying. Oh my God! I can't go through with it.
But it's just that constant idea of just shooting people, or then shooting them when they're down.
Yeah.
Right? Like that visceral nature of it's not like it's really like there's blood going everywhere, or I'm just decapitating them, or I'm gibbing them, or any of this. It's more just like the act of shooting someone who's surrendering.
It's a war crime. It's a war crime.
It's an interesting take that you have a moral issue with it, when for me the anger just came from thinking it was horrible gameplay mechanics. Yeah. You have a gun, you shoot a guy, he should be dead. Why is he falling down on the ground and crawling around and getting revived and then parachuting back in after his 1v1 in the goo? What world do we live in where you're given so many chances to frustrate other people? It's crazy.
Yeah.
The point of the game is to ruin other people's fun, pretty much. A lot of shooters are kind of. It's just insane.
I guess what I'm saying is that we don't know what is and also then the young adult genre of Hunger Games-y things where there's a lot of these. I watched a little thing on Netflix this week called Alice in Borderline. I think it was like a comic or something originally, but it's now a kind of battle royale. It feels very like a modern battle royale. By which I mean the OG battle royale. Do you remember the battle royale from the OG
Do you remember
one?
PUBG?
I watched that when I was a teenager, and that was pretty violent,
very gory.
It's all it's Hunger Games is all based on the sort of idea of a battle royale.
Oh, absolutely, complete rip-off. Yeah. But that's kind of become kid stuff now.
We're raising a generation of kids who think Last Man Standing. I wonder how brutal they're going to be when they enter the workforce.
Well, no, but you got to understand that you got to amp this stuff up. If that's not what is the next logical step for an adult who's been brought up on Hunger Games style blood.
Oh
and
man,
gore.
you know
Like,
all those
I mean,
things that like your dad used to say to you that you just thought like, oh, my dad doesn't know what he's talking about, sort of thing. You know, when he gave you like the talk about how like enjoy school
oh my
because it's a
God.
lot better than
this
working
is me
and
right
stuff.
now.
Right.
I
I
don't know what I'm
actually
talking
had
about.
the exact same conversation with my son the other day. He's like, "Oh, I don't really want to go to school," and I was like, "Honestly, if I could go back and go to school, I would go because it's much better than working when you're an adult. Like you should." It's crazy, right? Like they say that youth is wasted on the young, and it's so true, right? Like because I guess it's relative and it's context at the time or whatever. Like I didn't like going to school either, but now looking back, I was like, oh man, I would go to school. Like it was so easy. Holy crap! Like it's just compared to like having to be an adult, it's just. It's insane, right? So I had to have the exact same conversations, like enjoy school while it's there because it goes really quick, and then all of a sudden you're not going to school and you're going to work, and work really sucks. And he's like, "Oh, okay," but like you can tell he just didn't like understand or wasn't listening or whatever.
Yeah.
But man, if only there was a way that you could really instill this wisdom into your kids and make them like savor the moment more, kind of thing, right? Because holy crap, the workplace is such a nightmare. Fuck, I'm so glad that like I don't have to actually work with people or go to like an office or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I've tried to make the point to
lucky.
my kids that I hated school and I hated doing my A-levels and then I hated university, mainly because I wasn't studying what I actually wanted to study. I had it fixed in my mind that you had to get a degree or an education in something that you actually eventually wanted to end up doing for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That was it. What you chose at 16, 17 or whatever in terms of A-levels, and then what degree you chose, that's it. You're locked on that path. And that was hammered into us at like career advice and all the rest of it at school. And their career advice was fucking awful. All the career advisors we saw were fucking awful at their job. Not one of them encouraged you to find something you enjoy doing. They were like, right, what pays well and what are you good at? So, well, that's
it's one of those jobs that's just not really a job, right?
Like, it should be. It's important.
It should be, but in most cases, those people get that job and they're just clinging on for dear life.
They don't give a shit.
They're like,
I really
oh my
don't think
God,
they
I
give a
can't
shit.
believe I get a salary for like doing this nothing job.
It's just awful.
Fuck, I have to justify this and make sure that I can keep this one somehow. Because there's just not really that much to do, right? I mean, I'm sure if you're a good career advisor, and you're out there and you're earning your money or whatever, fair enough. But like the ones at school, in my experience, were like you said, just terrible. Like it's stupid. It was a waste of time.
It was awful. I honestly think they'd given up, and they didn't actually not at any point did they encourage you to do something you actually wanted to do.
No,
they'd obviously been told, whatever you do, don't encourage them to do something that isn't like a really, straight-laced tie and shirt career, because that's not what we want to represent. And you'll annoy the parents or whatever. So you give them shit advice, because let's be honest, the most important advice you're going to get is from your parents.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who are like gatekeepers for what you want to do and stuff. So I've just tried to say to my kids, look, just do all the subjects, try to do well in your exams early on, and then you'll be rewarded by be able to choose. You can go to university and do a 3-4 year course, do extra after that if you want. It's something you really love and are interested in.
Yeah.
Don't fucking just make a choice based on what some dickhead tells you, and definitely don't feel you have to decide now what you want to do with the rest of your life. That's the best advice you could give, and you never get it. I never got that at school.
It's kind of weird that you end up going to university as early as you do in life, right? Like,
bizarre.
When you're in your early 20s, like you're changing a lot, right? Like think of how much you changed from 20 to 30, for example.
Huge amount. Yeah.
Yeah, and like and you're already sort of putting yourself like on a very strict trajectory for something that you think you want to do for the rest of your life at the age of 20. That's crazy. Right? It doesn't make any sense. Like of course you're going to change your mind and flip-flop a couple of times, and there's going to be ups and downs and stuff. That's life, right? Like it's, I guess the best you can do is just sort of get a degree in something to prove that you are capable of further education.
But if it's something you find interesting, then it's also not a complete waste of time. Like you'll do much better in a degree that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Because you'll do the extra work. This is interesting for you rather than just a chore.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I never really thought about it like that. But like, I mean, I've been college and stuff.
We talk about this a lot, and I think it's passion, right? I think passion drives productivity. I think the most the best things that you know about have not been done in a 9 to 5. They've been done by people who have done it as a small project, you know, on a Friday night or over their weekends, you know, to make whatever it is, whether it's Minecraft or Harry Potter or like, you know, you name it. Like, you'll find that the real art and the what makes that thing good isn't manufactured, right? It was created out of someone's passion project, right? Even like Google Mail and stuff, you'll find that these things were made on the Friday, you know, when Google had this policy of do whatever you want Fridays. Right. That's when some of the biggest innovations and like the best products that they make came from, you know, that really changed how...
I mean, Facebook, for example, was a university project, I guess.
That's right,
look at the history of it. But it was...
Well, his motivation was to get
revenge.
Girls,
Revenge and girls. Like, that was pretty much... Well, that's what the social network said. I know that he's claimed that it's not accurate, but if you look around at the history of Facebook...
I bet he claimed that it wasn't accurate. Yeah, I wouldn't want people to know me.
I mean, he was sued by the Winklevosses, and they did settle, and Eduardo Saverin did get a payoff, and so a lot of the stuff in there did happen. Obviously, the specifics are not there, but it was essentially something that he did in his spare time at university. Came up with this idea. It's pretty incredible. I think if people find a passion for something and they have some skills, they'll get there. It's just sad that so many people follow the wrong path.
I read recently that this week that the Winklevoss twins actually from that movie, they're real obviously, but they're now like billionaires because they're worth like they have like they bought loads of bitcoins, like crypto stuff, and so they're now like they owe like even just their Bitcoin holdings are apparently about 1.3 billion.
Wow,
which is crazy, isn't
just it? Slightly less than mine. That's crazy. I can't believe it. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a bit ranty for me this week in terms of Zack Snyder, but
it was very enjoyable actually.
Very interesting, very passionate.
Yeah. I could talk about it all day.
I think the best thing about it was that I love how you cast it perfectly because you know that Dave Bautista or whatever is no longer gonna stand for being an orc, right? He's too successful now to have to put makeup on. He's gonna be Gandalf, because that's just how he rolls now. He's like, hey, I'm Dave Bautista. I'm too big for you now. Fuck you. I'm gonna Gandalf or nothing. I ain't doing no big muscly orc. Get some other chump to do that.
Whereas oddly enough, in Army of the Dead, having destroyed all these zombies and got out, he just works at a burger place. I'm thinking, there's no way a man of that size would not be able to walk into any job in the security industry or become a mercenary because he's incredibly good at it. No, just flips burgers. Because that way we feel sorry for him, you see. It's very simple. Like Zack Snyder thought, what's the worst job Dave Bautista could do? Flipping burgers. Therefore,
I think Dave Bautista is probably a very nice man, although I don't know, and you can never fucking know, can you?
Yeah, well, let's get him on SAS Who Dares Wins and see what he's all about.
All those people with this who are listening going, Dave Bautista's amazing, he's so nice, he kissed my aunt once and gave her his autograph, and he also drove her to the hospital.
Yeah, let's see him.
Fuck off.
Let's see him dead drop off an oil rig. Let's see how he handles that one.
Let's see his fucking Eurovision entry. What do you got, Dave?
Yeah, Dave.
Crank one out.
Fucking, I bet you that guy couldn't fucking write a song to save his life, or jump off an oil rig, or fucking paraglide down the side of a steep mountain in Scotland, or anything. Like, you know,
who knows?
Or have a podcast called the Triforce Podcast with me and Lewis and Sips.
Yeah, and there's no Daves here. There's not a single
Where's your
Dave.
podcast, Dave?
Yeah,
Where
Dave.
is it?
Where's your podcast?
Think about that. Right, that's enough.
Dave.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will be back next week, as always. New episodes every Wednesday on Spotify.
Oh yeah,
and our sister podcast, Pitch Please.
Oh yeah, how was your pitch received?
You should listen to it.
No, I want you to just give me a TLDR on that one.
Poorly is the answer, really. I just sort of talk, the usual. Yeah. I just talked over him and. And ruined it generally. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Have a good week. We'll hopefully get some sunshine.
Yes.
Enjoy
the
start of spring.
Get some good chemicals in your
Stay frosty.
All right, good luck.
Bye.
Bye.